rolling.
Okay.
Yay!
Okay.
What time? What time?
What a time, what a time, what a time. Wait.
Okay. Sit close the whole time.
You're sitting really close to us, so it's quarantine season. This is not quarantine. I think this is great. Well, here we are. I feel like this pillow is just growing out of my armpit. I feel like a dog, you know, when they make their bed and then they like go in circles.
Just like that.
Well, hey guys, welcome to the first ever Fireside chat. We don't have a real fire here with us today, but I hope that wherever you are, you have a fire in your heart. But these moments are just going to be combos with different people about things that God's been teaching them, things that are coming up in their heart in this season, and honestly, I'm just pumped about it. But yeah, today I wanted to have a convo with the one and only Jessie Grace Devereaux, who is a leader with Antioch Youth and also my sister and just my favorite person ever. What a dream. Something that I've seen you time and time again walk through super well is disappointment and coming face to face with moments where you were hopeful for something and then it didn't happen the way you thought it would. And we all face that. We face these moments of disappointment, and especially in this season, like we have seniors who thought they were going to be, you know, walking across the stage and giving theses in person and going to prom, and there's, you know, so many disappointments right now. Then there's disappointments in every part of life, like oh, the guy or girl you like doesn't like you back, or you don't get into that school, or you come home expecting to have a great time with your family and you get in a fight with your parents. So like disappointment all over. And I think you have done a really incredible job of keeping a soft heart walking through disappointment. So can you take me into some of that? How do you deal with disappointment?
Yeah, it wasn't always so soft. It wasn't always so soft. But yeah, I feel like there have been, I think especially after high school, I feel like there have been so many moments where before I really walked with God and talked with him about it, I was just like, wow, so mmany things, so many doors have shut in my face, like have been slammed in my face. Like college, I had this like amazing place I had gone or wanted to go to. I had gotten accepted. I'd gotten like just this opportunity to participate in competing for a full ride, all these things, and then like just like one after one there were things that happened that didn't make it possible. And then like at one point I was trying to get into the Coast Guard, what a random thing, but like my vision disqualified me, things like that. And then like things that might be happening that might not be because of COVID. Shelter in place.
That's the word.
But yeah, so many times when I've been like, wow, this door's been shut in my face. This is disappointing. Does God love me? Kind of thing. But I think something that I've learned is that when people expect like things in their lives to line up exactly the way they want it to, I think it's great to ask God for things. But when you're like, oh, I'm going to ask God for this to happen, and if it doesn't happen, then he doesn't love me. Wow. And when we expect God to like try and align with our plans, there's gonna be disappointment because he has his own plans for us, and they're like 100% better for us. They're 100% exactly what we need. And and so then like looking back on those moments of, well, this opportunity isn't gonna happen, but like there have been so many good opportunities that have opened up because of that. Like I've gotten to spend more time with you.
Yes, winning.
Gotten to hang out with
what
Antioch
Youth.
Yes. And just like so many things in my life that are so good that wouldn't have been possible or wouldn't have happened if if I had done those other things, even though they're great. There are greater things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. I think one of the main things about disappointment is that, and we're actually going to have, Ceci's going to talk some about this, about really diving into the things that are going on inside of your heart and your feelings, and in those moments of disappointment, being like, Lord, this is hard, like this stinks, and being honest with God about, these are the things that I'm feeling, taking that to the cross, taking that to Jesus, and there letting him sift through what's going on with you and grieve it with you. And then after that place is when you can go into a place of hope and restoration and moving on. But if you're not honest with what's really going on, you're going to end up, it's almost like bandaging a wound without cleaning it first.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. And like a big thing about that, just also playing into community, is that after, I feel like every time something was gonna happen, I'd like tell people about it because they cared about my life, you know. They'd be like, what's going on? And I'd tell them, and then like I'd see them a month later and they'd be like, so how was this? And I'd be like, it actually didn't happen. And there's that awkward moment of like, what are you doing, kind of thing. And just like, I don't know, almost like a shame or embarrassment. And then I kind of like numbed myself off from being excited about things. And so like something that our mom used to say was like, Jessie, like, what are you excited about? I can't tell if you're excited about anything because like you don't show excitement for anything. You don't show joy for anything. And I think that was like, to me, I was like, oh, I'm excited, but I just like, I don't show things very well. But like the real thing was that I wasn't letting myself have joy because of just a fear of like, oh, it's not going to happen. If I say it out loud, then it's not going to happen, kind of thing. And but I think something I've learned is that people ask about your life because they care. And they want to know what's going on in your life, not because they want to see how successful you are or like how successful you are. They just want to know what's going on in your life and they want to support you in that. And I wasn't realizing that. And so like now when people ask like what I'm doing, when they remember something I was doing in the past, like when they were like, oh, like how's the Coast Guard going? And to me it's like, okay, like another thing I have to explain myself in. But it's because like they remember those things and they've been thinking about you and they've been like cheering you on and praying for you even if you don't know it. And so just like don't be afraid to have joy and excitement for things, and don't be afraid to talk about them. That's something I've learned too in the disappointment of things. But yeah,
I love that, Jess. So good. It all goes back to the vulnerability of joy.
Yeah.
I think Amanda Cook talks about that, and when I heard that phrase, I was like, ooh, we love Amanda. The vulnerability of joy. Like I've never thought of joy as being vulnerable. I always thought like vulnerability was like, here, let me like share my dark things in my heart. But it's that place of saying, I'm going to choose to celebrate with people and bring people into my victories, not just my defeats, so that we can win together. It's like the story in the Bible of David and his men, and he was like, I'm going to go. You guys come fight with me to take my land, and I'll go fight with you to take your land. And if we're not vulnerable with each other, we can't help each other take land. And so I think that's huge. To fight disappointment is being honest and vulnerable with people.
Yeah. Celebrating with people is so fun. Like just celebration in general. Like it doesn't have to be big things. It can be like, I got out of bed this morning, and you're like, way to go. Like, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. But,
so good. Yeah. Something else I love about disappointment. I mean, I don't love disappointment, but I love about it
disappointment
is that in the Word in Romans 5 it says this, and hope does not disappoint us. And I was like, okay, great. Like, what does that even mean? It's in Scripture. Hope does not disappoint us, and so the weapon against disappointment is hope. And I think the reason why hope is a weapon against disappointment is because hope, like what you're saying, is not tethered to an outcome. It's not tethered to I'm going to get into this program or whatever. It's tethered to Jesus, and Jesus doesn't disappoint us because he takes us in his paths and his timing. And so I think especially in this time, as there's a lot going on, if we can anchor into hope, the living hope, into Jesus, doesn't matter what the outcome is. It doesn't matter what tomorrow is. It's all about him.
Yeah, that's big. That's good, Em.
Good stuff, yo.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. One of my favorite books is called The Hiding Place, and it's by Corrie ten Boom, who was in Amsterdam or in the Netherlands during World War II, and Dietrich Bonhoeffer, another amazing guy. Anyway, last night I was thinking about their stories and how they were living their lives. They were on this path of like life was going normal, and then something super disruptive happened, World War II. Everything that they thought was normal and real was gone. Yeah. And they had to be still and they could have missed an opportunity had they not stopped and paused and been like, God, what do you want me to do? What is my role to play in this time in history? And they paused, and then they ended up living lives that saved people's lives. Yeah. And I was thinking, last night I was like, God, I don't want to miss out on what you're doing in history because I'm so focused on what I think my yes is going to be. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, I don't want to be so focused on my dream or like the things that I love that I miss this entirely new opportunity that God's putting before me. So it's something that I would just encourage you guys is to really ask the Lord, what do you have for me right now in this season? Because guys, you were made for such a time as this. Like, you were made for the year 2020. You know, God knew that you were going to be on planet Earth in Austin, Texas, or if you're watching from another place on the planet, he knew you were going to be there. He knew that you were going to be in middle school and high school and around the people that you're with. He knew you were going to be in the family that you're in, and so we don't want to miss out on that moment in history by just kind of cruising, you know.
That's good.
And also, we don't want to miss out on that moment because of fear of disappointment. And disappointment can only happen when we take risks. Yeah. And this is the time to take risks and say yes to Jesus every day.
This time is awesome, and like just use it to say yes to God and say yes to things that you might be afraid of. Say yes to new opportunities and to trying new things. Let God disrupt your life right now.
So good. Yeah. I love all that you shared. Thanks so much. So takeaways here. Number 1, do not be afraid of disappointment. Take risks. Number 2, be honest about disappointment and about the things that are going on in your heart with the Lord, because he wants to heal and be with you in it. Number 3, hope is the weapon against disappointment. Hope does not disappoint us. It says he doesn't give to us as the world gives. So take heart, have hope, be filled with hope. It also says that we grieve as a people with hope. So that goes hand in hand with number 2 of be honest with your feelings and your emotions, because in that is where the hope is found. Number 4, community. Press in so deep. This is the time not to separate and isolate, but to really come together. There's so many resources out there for that. Marco Polo, text, video,
reach out to a youth leader,
Zoom calls, all the things. And 5, ask God, what do you have for me in this season? You were made for this, for such a time as this. Don't miss out on the moment. Well,
so good.
We love you guys, and
thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to me.
Yep.
Nailed it. I want to do a dance class. I want to take a dance class. That's my yes.
Yeah.
Time to eat. I'm hungry.